Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. With me as always is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
McDonald's has announced its next major celebrity-backed meal. Following the success of last year's partnerships with Travis Scott and J Balvin, the burger chain is turning to today's biggest musical act, BTS. The BTS meal will consist of 10 chicken McNuggets, medium fries, and a medium Coke. The combo will include new nugget sauces inspired by South Korea, sweet chili sauce, and Cajun sauce. The meal will debut in the US and international markets on May 26th, then in South Korea the next day. Out of the 3 musician-inspired meals, this is the first that will have a global release.
Okay, excellent. So they have a meal.
They secured a huge endorsement here.
Oh, that's excellent. I tried to order the Travis Scott meal, and then they said they were sold out. I'm like, what the hell do you mean you're sold out? This is just McDonald's food.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have plenty of the supply.
Yeah.
And his meal wasn't anything very different.
No.
The Travis Scott meal was a quarter pounder with bacon and fries with barbecue sauce and a medium Sprite.
So yeah, why were they sold out? They have all those things.
They should have all of those.
Just rearrange how you make the stuff. But this one's actually a little bit different, right? Because it has a different type of sauce.
Yeah, the sauces are new.
Well, I like McDonald's. I like chicken McNuggets. I'm going to order it.
What is your usual McDonald's go-to meal?
Probably number 1, like the Big Mac meal. Nothing special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I normally get the quarter pounder with cheese deluxe meal.
Right.
But
when they have the McRib, I ordered that.
Right, the seasonal McRib that everybody loves. But yeah, everybody eats McNuggets, so that's a good choice on their part. And they said that I've heard that McDonald's lets the artists, when they do these meals, they pick things that they will eat. Like, it's up to the artist. So BTS must have thought, okay, chicken McNuggets, that's what we want our meal to be. Fries and a medium Coke with these different sauces. They're probably like, oh, your sauces are like not spicy enough. Can you make new sauces? But I do think that's also a trend, having things that are really spicy. Like, that's why people like sriracha sauce, and that's why people like Nashville hot chicken. Like, there's a ton of chains that do that now. So I think they've hit upon a good thing to order, and it's like 10 nuggets, so it's not too big of a meal.
I'll order it.
Yeah, we'll try it out. We'll tell you guys how it goes. McDonald's has been using these celebrity meals. This is a very recent thing. Like, it started with the Travis Scott meal, like you said, and that was only in November 2020. So not that long ago that they started doing this, like special extra value meals. And after that, they did the J Balvin meal, which I don't know how well that did, but I didn't hear that much about it, so I don't know. But the J Balvin meal, it was a Big Mac with no pickles, medium fries, and an Oreo McFlurry. So that's kind of a different meal. I don't know why the no pickles. I guess he just doesn't like pickles.
Yes.
Some people were asking, why doesn't BTS's meal have an Oreo McFlurry? Because they know that V has ordered that before. Like, he's been to McDonald's. Like, there's footage of them on Bon Voyage and stuff where they've ate at McDonald's. And he ordered an Oreo McFlurry. So I think it's because this J Balvin meal had that in it. They probably can't repeat stuff. So I did think that there was going to be big news this week. This was not the news I was expecting, but that's pretty funny that they've got this big endorsement deal with McDonald's. And I think it's a very good brand. It's one of the top brands, and it's an American brand, so that's something different too, because a lot of the things that BTS endorses, they're Korean brands or like international brands, but I think McDonald's is one of the few that, I mean, they're American, but then they're also international too. McDonald's it's good for every demographic. It's like everybody eats there. It's like men, women, children, ages, all races eat there. So I think it's definitely a good deal for BTS and McDonald's. People were asking about photo cards, and I think that everybody should calm down and not expect anything special. Yeah, because, I mean, people are used to getting photo cards when they buy merch or albums or things like that.
No, they're not going to get that.
I think that might be asking too much. Yeah, that's a whole different production to make photo cards. And if there were photo cards involved, I think people might act too crazy. It'll be like very crowded at McDonald's people are going to try to collect them, especially if there's like 7 of them that they're they're trying to get. There were some clues that people missed, like Suga had worn a McDonald's shirt in one of the Bang Bang Con 21 videos, and J-Hope had a chicken nugget pillow in his studio. So we may have been able to predict that, but I guess people weren't really paying attention, or they just thought, well, you guys just like McDonald's, so that's why you have these items. I heard that McDonald's employees are going to get a special BTS shirt for this promo, so that almost makes you wonder, it's like, okay, are people going to try to apply to McDonald's just to get the shirt that says BTS
Maybe,
on it?
yeah.
It wouldn't be that bad of an idea, like if you wanted to get something special from this. McDonald's used to have a lot more celebrities endorsing stuff back in the day. They kind of stopped doing that, but they started up again with the Travis Scott meal. But remember before, they would have Michael Jordan in a commercial or Kobe Bryant in a commercial. And
No, I don't really. I'm sure, yeah.
But yeah, back in the day, they would pick like, the top athletes. And I think not so many musicians, but I feel like I remember Justin Timberlake was, I don't know if he was in the commercial, but he definitely sang the jingle.
That's right.
And
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I remember his voice. Yeah, and it was like not in sync. It was like just Justin Timberlake. I was seeing in an article like also Destiny's Child was in a commercial. But the point is, back in the day, they used to have more A-list celebrities doing these endorsements, and they tried to pick someone that like everybody likes, so people who are at the top. And then they kind of stopped doing that because celebrities would have like too many controversies. So then it's like McDonald's doesn't want somebody that is going to bring baggage and, oh, you're accused of this and that. It's like we don't want to be associated with McDonald's. So I think BTS is probably the perfect group to pick because they're wholesome, they are not problematic, and
right.
they don't have lyrics that promote violence or anything too extreme for kids. So that's a very good choice on McDonald's part. The only downside might be, well, maybe there's two downsides, is that maybe not everybody in America is familiar with BTS yet. So I don't know if it's as worth it for McDonald's. Like if you're those people out there that don't listen to K-pop at all or don't listen to BTS. And the other thing is that BTS as a brand ambassador is going to be pretty expensive because they're in so much demand. So, but then a brand like McDonald's could afford whatever their price is. So, there's people out there, they might say, oh, BTS is endorsing obesity by endorsing McDonald's, because it used to be like McDonald's was really getting bashed for contributing to, people's health problems and stuff like that. But I really don't think anyone's problems is McDonald's fault, because like I ate McDonald's all the time as a kid.
Yeah, no, it's
like,
not their problem.
Never was obese or never gained weight. I think as an adult, of course, you don't have the same metabolism, so you can't be eating McDonald's every day, but it's up to you to watch what your calories are. So hopefully nobody brings that up and blames BTS for America's health crisis. But then again, the BTS meal is only 10 nuggets and a medium fries. It's not like the maximum that can be in a meal. It's not like 20 nuggets and large fries. Although it does have a medium Coke. It could be just a Diet Coke, because I don't know why you would drink regular calorie soda.
Right.
So in contrast with the McDonald's deal, BTS signed another deal that was announced this week for the luxury brand Louis Vuitton. On April 23rd, the brand announced that BTS is their new global brand ambassador, naming them as their new house ambassadors, which I don't know exactly what that entails. This marks the first global luxury fashion deal for BTS, aside from their partnerships with top global companies such as Samsung and McDonald's. So I don't know what they've agreed to exactly, but I can assume that they will be wearing a lot of Louis Vuitton for red carpet events and photo shoots that are coming up. And this was definitely unexpected because BTS has never endorsed a luxury brand before. They've wanted to be able to wear any brand they want and like mix and match and stuff and not be limited. So I guess Louis Vuitton must have made it worth it for them to be able to say, yeah, we'll be your brand ambassadors. And we don't know that they're restricted from wearing other brands. It could be that they are just contracted to wear Louis Vuitton for certain things, and that's that. And they don't have to be limited in other situations. But it was funny that people, after the McDonald's deal, because that happened earlier in the week, and then the Louis Vuitton thing was announced later. But after the McDonald's deal, some of the antis were saying, oh, McDonald's, that's not as cool as endorsing a luxury brand like my faves do. There's a lot of idols out there. They endorse, all the various brands like Chanel or whatever, like all the different ones. And then just come out later this week, BTS is like, oh, wait, we endorse this luxury brand too.
Right.
But I think it's better to have a deal like McDonald's than it is a deal like...
It absolutely is better.
Yeah, I mean, you want to reach as many people.
It's about the overall economic impact, right?
And I think McDonald's is one of the most well-known brands. Like, everybody in every country has heard of McDonald's. So I definitely think that's...
I'd much rather have a deal with McDonald's than Louis Vuitton. Mm-hmm. It says a lot if they even want to do business with you.
Yeah. So recently, BTS also endorsed Cloud Beer. So this is not a brand that I'm familiar with, but it must be a more like Asian-centric brand. And it turns out that once it was announced that BTS was endorsing this beer, that it became a best-selling product in many countries, and it's become completely sold out in Malaysia. And Koreans were seen buying Cloud Beer in bulk, and it's just gotten a lot of attention. It's like a beer that people didn't really know about before, and then now a lot of people are buying it, and their social media has been, they gained a lot of views and followers. So since this is a smaller brand, like I wonder, like, okay, did it cost them a lot of money to have BTS in their commercials? Like, they must have thought it was worth it if they're a smaller company.
They may have given them some percentage deal.
Oh, that's true. Maybe they've structured it so that...
Right. So sometimes if you don't want to pay up front a lot of money, you'll give a percentage deal. You'll say, well, X percent of our future earnings will be, for this amount of time, will be going to you.
Oh, okay.
Right? That makes sense. Because so if your endorsement produces sales, then you'll benefit. But if it doesn't, then you won't.
Right. And usually...
But it could be very lucrative if it does, obviously. And that may be the kind of deal they had. Oh, that would have been very smart. Because if Cloud Beer sets up a promotional deal with BTS, anything that happens in the next however many months, it's because of BTS. And, maybe they really cleaned up on the sales with that, too, if they got a big percent. I happened to see on Twitter, someone posted the top 10 brands from Forbes. And out of these 10 brands, BTS are brand ambassadors for 4 of them. And so that's really impressive. They're brand ambassadors for Coca-Cola, Samsung, Louis Vuitton, and McDonald's. And these are all billion-dollar companies. And this is the number one beverage company, the number one luxury brand, and the number one restaurant. So I think that's pretty impressive. BTS is able to sign these deals. There's an analyst report that came out that predicted all BTS members will enlist together in 2022 to minimize the release gap between their albums. According to an analyst at leading investment and securities, BTS members will enlist together by the first half of 2022, and the actual break will be just about a year thanks to pre-made contents. He then rated buy for Hybe stocks, saying the label has other global artists to bridge BTS enlistment hiatus. Shortly after this report came out, Big Hit responded with a brief comment, "We don't have anything else to share about our artist enlistment plans other than what they've already said. We ask for your understanding." So I'm glad somebody in Korea finally agrees that this is the way to go. Yeah. Well, is this analyst from Korea?
Yeah, it sounds
Leading
like...
investments and securities, right?
Yeah, it sounds like he's somebody from over there that's trying to predict the situation.
Well, just for those people that are unfamiliar with these sorts of releases and statements, when an analyst says something, it's just someone's opinion, first of all, obviously. But it is a somewhat educated opinion because usually when you say an analyst said it, these people work for a company that is invested in knowing these sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're an investor and you're familiar with this. There'll often be times when an analyst says something. Analyst targets X amount for Tesla stock or something like that, right? For this and that reason. At the end of the day, it is just someone's opinion, but they probably are more educated than you on the topic. So you do weight it in that way. But at the same time, it is someone's opinion.
It doesn't guarantee that that's
It doesn't
happening.
Guarantee anything, but people do look at that opinion and, you know, weight it a little bit more heavily than just anybody on the street. So when somebody who's paid to really prognosticate these things says something, people pay attention a little bit more, you know?
Well, and I would think that Big Hit would say, no, that's not true, if it was totally
Well, they're not going to admit what's going on, yeah. Well, they're not going to admit what's going on.
Well, I don't think they would agree if the guy was right.
Yeah,
but
there's no reason for them to.
Yeah, I guess there's no reason for them to comment either way. I wanted to believe they would all enlist together because I think it's better to all do it at once, and that way it's not as long of a time for the entire group to be back together again. And it would also be better for their friendships because then they would be back together soon, and they would have the enlistment being a shared experience, as well as it just makes logical sense because their brand is being the 7 of them all doing things together.
Right.
But then I had kind of moved away from them enlisting together because of the financial reasons. Because for Hybe, it's easier if they just go one by one. You know, like one's gone, but then we can still use the whole group to promote something because they rely on BTS so much. And maybe what if the stock falls in price if too many of them are gone at once? Like if they all went at the same time.
For a whole year.
Yeah. But if they did it individually, maybe that wouldn't cause very much of a dip.
Huh. Well,
I'm saying that was my thought beforehand, but now that the person said this, it seems to me that the enlisting together idea is gaining more traction.
I'm still on board with the enlisting together.
And
I think that's the best path.
I think maybe what this analyst was observing was the fact that Hybe was making all these deals, and then they had bought Ithaca Holdings, and that, okay, now they have a solid enough foundation that BTS can enlist together if they all want to do that. So it's not going to be such a hit to the income, because it's like, oh, okay, we'll get by with, you know, Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber money coming in. You know, it's not going to be as bad for that, you know, small amount of time where they've used up all the BTS pre-recorded stuff. So I think that means Hybe is in a good place right now. The fact that this analyst thinks that they could do that they could all enlist together. But I think that if BTS decides to all enlist together, other groups are going to start doing the same thing, because I feel like no one else has done that yet, even though it's a very logical move. You know, like if you have a group that isn't that many people and they're all kind of close in age, like, okay, why didn't you guys all go at the same time and just get it over with? Like if you're a 4-person group, like remember you said Winner should have done that, or Big Bang should have done that,
right?
Although I don't know how close they are in age, but I think it would have worked better because then you don't have such a big gap. Another thing that is good about the whole group going together is that it sends a big message for patriotism. It's like, look, we're all serving the military now. Like, that's good for your brand. Like, no matter what, it's like, wow, that's very like pro Korea, you know? And I think they could even make this into a big event. Like, remember when LeBron James did the decision? And then that was such a high profile thing. And I was like, oh, what's he doing? Like when he just was like considering, leaving the Cavaliers and going to the Miami Heat. And but I mean, most people didn't think he was going to leave. But then they're like, well, let's watch the show. Let's see what he says. Right. But like that was such a huge event on TV, and it's like live TV, and it got huge ratings. And it also, I don't know if people know this, but they raised a lot of money for charity because they didn't sell like actual commercials for that special. It was like used for whatever charities LeBron James wanted. So I think like if BTS wanted to, they can make that really a huge event and spin it into something to their favor. It's like, oh, let's raise money for like UNICEF or whatever, you know, whatever charity they think is good. And they would be like, yep, everybody, we decided we're enlisting in the military on such and such date, and we're happy to do it, and, you know, make it just a big event. And because a lot of times, have you noticed and I'm not super familiar with the whole process of it, but it seems like idols, they just kind of announce it quietly, and it's like, oh, I said it in a V Live, or my agency put out a statement and it's like, I'm enlisting, and it's like very soon. It's like in a couple weeks or something. Like they just announce it quickly and it's like, okay, I'm leaving now. And it's just like a thing that they don't want to make a huge deal about. And I think it's maybe because they don't want it to be such a negative experience for fans. So like, let's not make it a huge media event or anything. But I think if BTS were to do it, I think since everybody is like kind of expecting that to be a big deal anyway, they might as well make it an event and kind of spin it in their favor. I mean, I think that's something they should consider. I mean, LeBron did get criticized somewhat for doing the decision because it's like, wow, you're just, such an ego to make this whole thing about you and whatnot. But I mean, it's really about how it's handled, and I feel like Hybe would handle it in a sensitive way. And it's like, well, this is more about being upfront with what we're doing. It's not about getting attention or anything. It's just about, this is what our plans are, and we're doing this for Korea, and this is a way to raise awareness and maybe raise money for charity too.
Exactly.
But I do worry that when BTS announces that they're going, that there's going to be like a mental health crisis among ARMY, because I think a lot of people aren't going to be emotionally ready for that to happen. People should just accept it and assume they're going. Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee or there's no news right now that they're going to get any exemption. So let's just assume that they are going. And, whenever that news happens, just hopefully we can all handle it properly. And
it's just going to be a year hiatus. It's fine.
Yeah. And they have, the members have mentioned, they've implied that, they're working like really hard right now and recording like, their schedules are like even more full than usual. So it could be more than just a comeback. It could be more that they're preparing for the time that they're gone.
Right.
We should be okay with it. We'll have a lot to watch and listen to, and they have a huge catalog anyway. So I feel like even if they didn't produce extra material in that time, there's still plenty to watch and listen to. And that makes me think of all of the endorsements they were signing this year too, because, not just the McDonald's and the Louis Vuitton deal, but they have like many other deals that they have signed on to. And I just wonder if that's because is 2021 just the year that everybody's like, I need BTS to endorse my product, or is it let's get all of this done before they have to leave for enlistment, and then they can't make money while they're out there. So I don't know if that's just a matter of timing or that's just the way it goes because they're at this level of popularity now. And then also with this issue is there are some solo stands that were speaking out, and like if you're a solo stan, you would rather that they went the normal way, like one by one, because
why?
Well, because that way, your favorite would be able to more likely to have a solo project come out, and then you could focus on that. Whereas if they all went all at once, well, no one can have a solo project. So some of the solo stans were speaking out about that aspect of it, and they got a lot of backlash. So that was just something that, is also a side effect of this whole enlistment conversation is like, the solo stans are speaking out and they're divided from the rest of the fandom. That's the OT7, basically. But I think people are not in favor of the solo stans to begin with, so they just got, even more backlash this time. A designer and auction company are under fire for their plans to auction Jimin's unwashed outfit. The outfit up for auction is the hanbok style suit worn by Jimin during BTS performance of Idol at the Gyeongbokgung Palace on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Normally, this designer says that he loans out clothes to idols, so the BTS wanted to buy the outfits, but he says he doesn't sell them. He loans it, and then he still owns it. But this designer wanted to put it up for auction for charity, and it was going to happen on April 22nd. And although fans were excited to hear about the sale, ARMY was then upset when they found out the outfit would be sold unwashed. And the designer had said, "The outfit is touched and worn by Jimin. I didn't wash it. The clothes still have Jimin's sweat and fragrance from that day." It's like, why did he have to say that part of it? He could have just not mentioned that one detail and then people wouldn't have been upset. They were just like if you leave it vague, then no one knows either way, you know? But I guess he didn't predict that people would have such a negative reaction. So after hearing that, and I guess the designer and this auction house got a lot of negative feedback, they decided to cancel the auction.
Wow.
The designer felt like he was burdened by it, and I guess all the social media comments he got were bad. So
he was harassed.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how bad it is, but enough that he decided to cancel it. So I don't know if that was a brilliant idea to auction the unwashed clothes or if it's unsanitary, but it definitely would have brought a lot of money for charity. So in that sense, it's kind of a shame that it was canceled.
Well, I mean, this is typical, right? I don't know if like Army realizes this is typical. Like usually when they sell these things, it's unwashed. Like when people sell like Michael Jordan wore these shoes in the game or whatever, they don't wash it.
Yeah. Or someone wore this Oscar dress for when they accepted.
Like it's authentic if it's not washed, right?
Yeah. You can't really wash these things anyway. It's just like let's take it as is, and
that's the whole appeal of it, that it's authentic. And yeah, what was their problem with it? Why were people upset?
I don't know. I guess they thought that it was exploiting them by emphasizing like, oh, it's gonna have their odor on there, and maybe they thought that was encouraging too many like crazy people to bid on it, like sasaengs or something. But
well, who cares though? Like,
yeah,
those people, it's going to charity.
Just take their money, you know.
These like crazy, stupid people, their money is going to charity. It's fine. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I would see it.
Yeah, I think maybe the designer should have been more aware of, okay, anytime you do a sale or event that involves BTS, you have to be prepared for negative feedback, and probably just have to ignore what people say. It's like, if you're going to go forward with this, just do it, you know? Don't be affected by what people are saying.
I'm not offended by it. First of all, it's normal for it to not be washed. You know that, right?
Yeah. And
like when they're like, LeBron wore these shoes.
I don't think that's exploiting.
They don't wash it. It's just they want it to be as authentic as possible, right?
I mean, it's from that day.
Yeah. I don't know that people are like, whatever. I mean, like smelling it or whatever, but is that their problem with it? That I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. But this is very normal. Yeah,
and there's a lot of celebrity memorabilia that is sold like that. Like, it's just as is, like from that day. So that's kind of too bad, but at the same time, it's like, well, it doesn't matter either way. It's just like clothes that they wore for one event. Fans have put together a collection demonstrating the variety of luxury watches worn and owned by the BTS members. Now, I don't know where this was posted originally, since this is like a terrible all K-pop article that doesn't link their source. But they had screenshots and the retail prices of the watches. And I don't know if BTS actually paid any of those prices for the watches or how they got them. It's possible that they were received as gifts from those brands, or you know, who knows? Or maybe they bought it themselves. I'm sure they can afford these prices. So there's a lot of brands we've heard of here. There's a lot of them are Rolexes. I thought,
I'm familiar with these brands.
Since you're knowledgeable on watches, you could comment on some of these. Like, some of them are very expensive. Like, there's one here that's like $98,000. The Rolex Day Date 36.
Yeah.
Which it says is a Rolex that Jin has. So that's a very, very nice watch. It has like white gold and diamonds.
Yeah.
Is that the most expensive Rolex there is, or there's one?
No, there's definitely more expensive ones. Not common ones that you just buy, but so I like watches. I know a little bit about. I'm familiar with all of these brands.
A lot of Rolexes.
Do they really wear these? Like, have the people verified that they're wearing these watches?
I think they verified it because they've been in pictures that.
These are nice watches.
That are.
I love this. The Jungkook wore the Rolex Daytona. That's my favorite. That is my favorite. It's a stainless steel one.
And it has a black dial, and it says,
I like the white dial one, but the black dial one's nice too.
It's $35,000.
It's not actually. It's only like 20 something. I don't know where they got this 35.
Oh, maybe these prices are like Korea prices or something.
I
don't know.
Because it's 20 to 25, as far as I know. V Whereas this Gégé Lecoultre, I love that brand. That's like, if you're into watches, that's a brand that you're really into.
Oh, I never.
And nobody else knows. Everybody knows Rolex. It's so basic, right?
Yeah.
But the Gégé, it's like it's kind of for watch aficionados.
I haven't heard of that one.
So I'm very impressed that V wears that one.
It says it's $19,000.
Yeah, they're expensive like all the other brands, but they're more for people in the know. Mm-hmm. Let's put it that way.
And I have heard of the Patek Philippe.
Yeah, RM wears this expensive Patek. I hate Patek. I don't really like Patek, but it's whatever. There's some really good watches that there are not in this group of watches. Oh my God, it says, did J-Hope wear a Daniel Wellington? That's a terrible watch. Daniel Wellington, you know, that's just a crappy watch you can drop ship from Asia for like $10. Don't pay $200 for it.
Maybe you just like the look of it.
Maybe. Yeah, they have some Gucci watches. Cartier is a very nice brand. I see like Cartier Tank over here.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. It looks like the Jimin ones. He's wearing Chanel boyfriend watch and then Cartier.
It looks like Jimin's wearing smaller watches.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're more narrow. They aren't like
maybe because he's a smaller person.
The big circular face ones like these other ones.
Makes sense. If you're smaller, then you want to wear a smaller watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these watches are beautiful, especially the Jungkook Daytona. I love that one. V wearing Gégé Lecoultre. Oh, I love that one. I don't like Gucci. It's kind of a fashion brand.
Yeah, I think that's Gucci trying to get into watches, right?
Yeah, I think they're kind of gauche. I don't like those brands. I don't like anything in precious metals. I don't like anything with sparkly diamonds on it or whatever.
What do you mean by precious metals? Like
gold or rose gold. I mean, who am I to say? These are obviously all nice watches.
It's just like preference.
Yeah.
That's
good.
What do you think about leather bands versus
leather bands, like if you want a dress watch, generally. I didn't know there were such nice watches. Jesus.
I didn't know either. This is very eye-opening. But if these have all been spotted, then it must be accurate. You've been seen wearing them. What about the Jungkook Submariner Rolex?
Yeah, Submariner is very common.
That one's like the dual tone. I know.
That is
some people.
I'm surprised they don't have like a regular stainless steel Submariner. If I had their money, I would have maybe bought a different selection of watches. I am pretty into watches, but it's still nice.
It's very impressive.
I would have a more Gégé Lecoultre. I would have a different selection of Rolexes, maybe like more Submariners. Yeah.
It's probably not even complete. This is just what people have observed. Like maybe they have more in their closet. But yeah, it seems to me that RM, Jin, Jungkook have the more classic taste, and J-Hope and Jimin have the more trendy fashion kind of watches, like whatever they're wearing that it matches with. So that's what I noticed. Twice have released the official music video for their 8th Japanese single, Kura Kura. Kura Kura is an upbeat pop tune where Twice express their feelings of meeting someone special as they get quote-unquote dizzy and lost control of their heart and soul. Besides the individual scenes from the group members, the spring-themed music video also features multiple shots of flowers, including Rosa chinensis, pale poppy, and common peony. So I thought the song was very good. It's a Japanese song, and the song was written by JYP and Yuki Kakubo, and that person was involved with writing Better, which I thought was one of the good recent Twice songs. So since it has the same songwriter as Better, it made sense that this song was pretty good too. And I thought the MV was very colorful and spring themed and more of the Twice that I was hoping to see instead of some of their more recent songs. I noticed that all the members were in the video, except that Changyang was not in the choreography part of it. So this must have been filmed at the time when she was just starting to come back from her hiatus. Did you like the song and the video?
I did, but I guess it was a little bit disappointing for me because it seemed pretty clear that they're never going back to a Q concept again. Because before, it seemed that maybe they would keep doing it for the Japanese releases, right? Mm-hmm. But this was a Japanese release, and it wasn't Q concept.
Right.
So they've matured beyond it, and probably JYP is thinking, well, if we want to do Q concept, it'll be like Nitsu or something, his new group.
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to be Twice.
It does seem like they're staying on the path of like
they're way too old. They're like 24 years old now.
What More and More was like is they're that similar aesthetic of.
So it will never be they'll never be what they were when I first got into them, which is fine. I mean, if they want to mature and they want to grow out of it, that's up to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I did like the song, and I liked it a little bit more than some of their other recent songs. But yeah, it hasn't been the same since before More and More. I feel like their last huge songs were Fancy and Feel Special. And maybe since then they've been going in this other direction.
Those were the big songs? What? Like over their entire life? No.
No, since the last ones that were, really big hits, I think.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, I would agree.
But I think the last time it was like 100% Twice was like Yes or Yes. Like after that, they've gotten a little bit different. But Yes or Yes still felt like Twice from before. Like I don't know exactly what's changed. I guess it's the type of songs and the direction and not doing cute concept anymore. Mm-hmm. But I did like Kura Kura, and I still like Twice. So I was happy with how the video turned out.
Yeah, I did like it, but it was a little disappointing because I realized that they're never going back to cute concept. Yeah,
it's hard to live up to early Twice. Yeah. When it was just like, that was the maximum K-pop girl group concept. But then I guess that's how it is as an artist. Like, you can't always just relive your same previous eras, you have to do different things each album and move on. Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast platforms. New episodes weekly. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow BTS Happy Hour on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also go to the website at btshappyhour.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional content. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.